Hi, James. Hi, Kay.
Hi, Dr. Joyce.
It's so nice to hear from you guys. You as a team have produced songwriters and have worked with, produced, and engineered for many big stars and do many other things our listeners don't know about. So let's start with you, James. I know that you had some connection to the Cabbage Patch Kids, and our listeners probably want to know about it, as do I, because I waited in line for 15 hours to get my children one of these things. So, James, can you tell us about that?
I sure can. When I was in college going for my art degree, I was selected by Xavier Roberts when he was first starting the whole Cabbage Patch Kids doll phenomenon. And just went in there and met with him and created the Cabbage Patch murals and fantasy paintings all over this little clinic. And at the time, we didn't know what we had. And later on, when it got on Real People and Newsweek, it really got crazy out there, and people were fighting in the stores for those dolls. So I learned early on that you don't laugh at a crazy idea, because that one sure took off.
It certainly did. Well, I know that you've had some connection to working and co-owning studios as well as producing songwriters, Kay, along with James. How did this come about, and tell us about your success with this venture?
Well, I'll be glad to. Actually, we started off as a band, James and I, called Beat Zero with some other musicians, and we have always loved to write and produce our own original music. And so I guess as musicians, we were always looking for studios to record in, and we would go different places and see how it was, and we found some things that we liked about them, and then other things we didn't. So then we decided to open our own studio, which we called Beat Zero Studios. And from there, we started not only just recording our own music and pressing our own CDs, but we found some really good studio musicians, and we also started working with other musicians, developing their songwriting skills and recording for them.
Well, I think that's great that you two can work together like that and give each other all the necessary skills that you both need to have such a studio, so I congratulate you on that. Kay, your company also creates album covers and marketing products like jingles, CDs, DVDs for companies like Marriott, The Home Show, and many others. Can you expand upon this?
Well, absolutely. I think we're in a different situation than most people, because as artists, we're also musicians and vice versa. So we like to use our music and art for creating branding for companies. So not only can we do their music, but we can do album covers and CD covers and work with companies like that. And so I think what we have is really an ability to fill what we call a hybrid niche of music and art, and we form a unified brand across different creative platforms for our clients.
Well, it really sounds like if I were going to be doing this, I'd want to do it with you, because I do like the combination of the music and the art, the brand.
Well, thank you, Dr. Joyce. We hope more people feel that way.
I do, too. Well, I'd like to ask James about the studio partners and what they did, as I understand that you've worked with stars like Reba McEntire and Ronnie Milsap, among others. Tell us about the others. James, can you tell us more about all the success you and Kay have had with working with well-known as well as up-and-coming artists?
Sure thing, Dr. Joyce. Actually, we've had a lot of really great partners and have co-produced a lot of different projects. And early on in Beat Zero Studios, we co-partnered with Steve Brantley. He's a great guy, fantastic producer. He's done work with Ronnie Milsap and Reba McEntire and Gary Morris and a whole lot more. I in turn also worked with like Larry John Wilson, who writes for Chris Christopherson, and the great legendary Roy Smith, who wrote Beach Music, She's Got Me Shagging, and Nelson Curry of the Class Band. Such great songwriters all the way through the years there. And actually, I did some work with the Tams, one of my favorite classic bands, but a lot of times I would work with the grassroots people that would come in and just really show talent, and I would work up some music tracks for them, and some of those tracks were played at Showtime at the Apollo, ESPN, and other things. So we had a really great run there with a lot of different amazing musicians, and we didn't do it alone. It was really a team effort between Kay and me and all of these great people.
I think that's just great. Well, James, I understand you and Kay expanded your studio and record label to Costa Rica in 2000. Tell our listeners about that and anything you'd like to add.
Yes, we had friends down there that had business interests in Costa Rica and had been inviting us for years to come down. And so we actually expanded the studio to go down, and we stayed there for a full year producing actually a metal group. Slavon got them on TV and radio. Really fantastic group. Found them up there in the Costa Rican mountains and just really blew us away with their talent. And we also sponsored the International Film Festival in Costa Rica and spent some really quality time down there. Kay had unique abilities there, helping with the language translations, and inflections, and she can talk to that a second.
What a great team you guys are. I'd really like to hear much more about this, but tell our listeners how to get in touch with you.
Sure can. And one thing I did want to mention more recently, I wanted to congratulate Dan Shores, our bass player and engineer from Beat Zero Studios. He was nominated for Grammys, and saw him up there at the Grammy on the carpets up there, and we were super proud of him, and I didn't want to go without mentioning that. But you can find us at James R. Hahn, that's HAHN.com. Or you can follow Kay on Twitter. She's got all sorts of cool things there. It's Kay Hahn1. And you can find us on Facebook if you're interested in the music side of what we do at Hahn Music. Just search for Hahn Music on Facebook, Dr. Joyce.
Well, that's just great. Well, thank you both for joining us today on the ImageMaker Media.
We appreciate the time.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.